Greetings, YouTube. It's your favorite DM Fish Suit here, joined by my best friend in the whole world. Am I pointing the right? Oh, I'm just getting it so good at this, Vlor. Right over there is Vlor. Uh, I am a Twitch DM, so we stream two different campaigns of Dungeons and Dragons right here on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/fishsuit, and we stream this podcast as well, which is live. And I'm the DM in both of those campaigns, and Vlor is a player character in both of those campaigns. And
Yeah.
we meet here every couple of weeks to go over the narrative and things that have happened in our different campaigns. That everybody, if you miss an episode, even though they're up here on YouTube, if you can't spend a couple of hours watching, you can catch up right here on our podcast. We break down some of the stuff that happens behind the DM screen. We talk to Vlor about maybe some perspective of how the players feel about certain stuff. So, thank you for joining me, Vlor. How are you this morning, my friend?
I'm doing good. I got my coffee, so I'm feeling a lot better now.
We were just talking. Vlor and I formerly both worked at the same place, and we've been on the vacation for the last couple of weeks. And this is the last day of vacation. I'm going to be starting a new job. Vlor's going back to the old place, but it's the last day of vacation for both of us. So, kind of a bittersweet day here, where we still have the day off, but back to work. Back to work tomorrow, Vlor. So it feels bad, man, but we'll enjoy the day off, and I'm happy to spend the day here with you talking about D&D. And we have another session tomorrow too, so that'll be fun.
Yeah, really excited about that one.
Yeah, so I wanted to start with Frost Maiden. So if you're watching this, if you're one of the 4 people who are watching this on YouTube, you might have noticed that the Rime of the Frost Maiden episode, I actually forgot which is our lost episode. Spoiler alert. There's a lost episode of Rime of the Frost Maiden. Unfortunately, due to the way that I pull these episodes from Twitch to YouTube, I end up pulling the VODs of the Twitch VODs, because it's just so much easier. That's why I do the intro live on Twitch. Just makes it so much easier, and allows me to upload these more regularly than when I was actually going in and editing the files, like video editing. And so it was episode 8 of Rime of the Frostmaiden, which we actually is a lost episode because something happened with the Twitch VOD, where the video for the VOD is all uploaded. You could go watch it, but unfortunately there's no sound whatsoever, so the context of what's happening is completely lost. That's a real shame. I'm super bummed out about it, but it happened, and we just have to kind of move on from it and like I move on the best we can. So we've lost a 2-hour session of Rime of the Frost Maiden, which Vlor and I are going to do our very best to recap here in a way that hopefully will catch everybody up on the story and stuff. And Vlor, I feel like it's extra unfortunate because I feel like that was such a great episode of Rime of the Frost Maiden. Do you agree?
Yeah, I agree. There were quite a few points in there which were just amazing. It's a shame we lost that.
Yeah, like there was some big narrative point. You should even do a funny voiceover of that. Maybe our Patreon content. What do you think, for?
There you go. I like that.
So you guys were here in the Verbeek layer. Of course, now we're looking at this having played through. I don't reset the map or anything after to go over these to do the podcast, but you basically, I think, all had just gotten a long rest, or you started this with a long rest. You guys had just found the mead. Most of the mead was still there. Some of it was gone. Everybody was hurting for spells and HP. And then I think that was it. Gusto, was it you that was checking out this wagon to repair the wagon? Perhaps to try to haul the mead back.
Yeah. So, Jordy and Cleo were kind of hurting, and so Kindar and I decided to stay up and fix the cart so that they could start their long rest. And
yeah, because it was Jordy, your barbarian, and Cleo, your bard, who were like really rough shape, and so you're like, you guys start sleeping. And we'll get the, and it only took you guys, like, you guys had some good rolls, I think, on the wagon repair and the
yeah,
like the perception on it or whatever. I don't even know what I made you roll, but you guys pretty quickly figured out that this wagon could be repaired, and then you had some great rolls to actually repair it. Loaded, I think. Then you woke Jordy up. He took a watch. He loaded it up with the mead fairly easily, and then you guys just got your long rest. So now you had the wagon. You have everything loaded up, and you kind of there was a moment where, and even in not even in the last session, but in the session before, you were like, "Are we gonna just go, or are we gonna explore the rest of this cave?" Because you really hadn't. Um, you hadn't seen much of this cave. You came in here, you killed the ogre, you killed the Verbeeg, and then you were like, "There's the stuff. All right, well, we got what we came for. Are we gonna go now? Or are we gonna, look at the rest of this
Yeah.
cave?" Where did Gusto fall on that?
I figured that it'd be best to explore the cave in case there were anything, if there was anything else. We weren't going to be coming back to this area, and if there was anything else that could um, cause issues for the townspeople, because Gusto is definitely looking to try and set up some business with these people as well.
Yeah, so you like
Especially after tasting the mead.
you were like, I think some of your other party members were like, well, we'll take this back and then we'll come back. And you're like, that's never gonna happen. Like,
Yeah. Be realistic, guys. Come on.
like we're not gonna go into town and complete this quest and then like haul our asses all the way back out here. Like we're here now. Let's just deal with it now. And I think then eventually, like it might have been you, and I think that maybe Jordy as well, Jackson's barbarian, that were like, I think we should just finish this off and see what's in here. So
Yeah.
the first area that you went to see was this shit pit up here in the upper right. And so I think whenever you guys first came into the cave, somebody theorized that this might have been a shit pit, and indeed it was.
Yeah.
It was just a midden pit. Dragon Blood, thank you so much, dude, for the 35 months. See, this is why we live stream these, because we get to interact with some of our community members. Thank you so much, Dragon Blood. 35 months is a super long sub, dude. One more month, you get that pin. Thank you so much, my friend. We'll get your catches on the next stream. Okay. Just trying to pull up. I just want to pull up the guide for this section here. We were in Good Mead. This is this one. And pop that open. Okay. Oh no, did I lose it? There we go. So yeah, you came up here to what you can see on my DM screen is a V4, the refuse pit. It's just a crudely excavated pit, 10 foot wide and 20 feet deep, and it's filled with 5 feet of bones, trash, and filth. I feel like somebody, I can't remember exactly who, but somebody threw like money down here. Was it you?
Yeah. So I wanted to see if there was anything in there. So I took a copper piece, cast light on it, and tossed it down in the hole.
Just because you guys didn't know what was in there at that point, right?
Yeah. Yeah. We figured what was in there, but we just wanted to make sure.
Right. And then Cleo walks over with a mage hand and grabs poop or a bone. Grabs a bone with poop on it.
I think she grabbed the coin.
She grabbed the coin, but then didn't she also grab a bone with poop on it and then chased you around the cavern?
I don't know if the coin had poop on it and that's what she was chasing me around with, but something had poop.
At some point you were chased around with poop. Like poop on it, like poop on the end of a stick, I feel like, with a mage hand. And then she had to use hand sanitizer on her mage hand sanitizer on her mage hand. That was it was just a funny moment. The dynamic between Cleo and Gusto has been really like a really fun aspect of this campaign. And it's just like better, keeps getting better and better. And then correct me if I'm wrong, but did you you and Kindar had like kind of a conversation?
Yeah,
little role play happened.
Yeah, so that was during the watch when we were fixing the cart. I asked him. I said, is this what we're doing? Are we trying to stop this curse? And he said that he was looking to find his home. But yeah, so I was like, all right.
Yeah, so uh, you got you got basically Kindar's motivation, right? I don't know if that's been I
Yeah.
don't know if he explicitly had talked about that before, but Kindar is here because he has been all over Faerun trying to find his place, trying to find his home, trying to find family. Um, and so that's his main motivation for being here in Icewind Dale. And he's like, he hasn't been here for that long, not a whole lot longer than Gusto, but that his motivation is to try to find that sense of family. And I mean, your party here is too new really for him to know whether that's going to be with you or elsewhere. But um, I think that might be the first time we've explicitly said in the game, Zund as a PC has said this is why Kindar is here. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
um, so yeah, I just there was a nice little role play moment there, and yeah, I think you guys both did well. Just quickly, just a quick chit chat. You finally kind of got some of the character motivation.
Yeah. That was kind of a meta moment. I wanted to get more story for myself, not just for the character. But it also played into something that Gusto will present maybe on the next one.
Cool. I think that a mistake that some people make in D&D, especially I would say like new players in making D&D, is to try to shove so much backstory and narrative and stuff into small places. Like
Hmm.
this campaign, we're going to be playing this campaign probably through the entirety of 2021. Like we're gonna be in this world for a long, long time, and there's no reason to give every bit of your character's backstory on session 5 or 6 or even set like this is going to come out in drips and drips and drips. I mean, we look at our other campaign, which we'll get to in here in a few minutes, but our other campaign we've been playing for the better part of 9 months now. We're still getting character backstory stuff. We're still learning about our characters. So I think that Zund has handled that really well because he's got in his head a lot of cool backstory stuff for his character, and he's a brand new player. And I think that the tendency can be to be like, here's all my backstory for my character, but he's
Yep.
really like keeping it close to the vest, some of the stuff, and I think he's playing it super well. And frankly, Sunflower is a fairly new player as well, and she's doing the same thing. So I think in that respect, you guys are all doing well. And I am going to
Yeah.
start working on working some of your backstories into we've just been playing sort of not vanilla rhyme of the Frost Maiden or anything, but we've been playing it a little just like from the manual so much, and you guys are just players here, but now we're going to start building you guys into it. um
Yeah.
okay, so you moved on from the poop chase hashtag. You can tweet at us hashtag poop chase. You moved into this room here, which is labeled as V9 on my map here, and this was where the Verbeeg was when you guys first came into the cavern. The Verbeeg was like kind of chilling in here, and he heard you guys let the goats out, or somebody made some noise enough for him to move from this area over to you guys, and of course, he's not there anymore. But as you get in here, Jordy recognizes that this stone tunnel is not really like natural cavern anymore. That it's been, and you can see that from the map, it's been worked
Yeah.
in some way. Um, I don't think it was too long in here before you guys. I think it was a lot of Kindar rolls here. Figured out that this
Hmm.
is some sort of a burial niche. This is some sort of a like warriors might have been buried here. Or this is like paying respects to the dead in some way.
Yep.
You didn't find anything super interesting, just a couple of like maybe stone daggers in this area in the V8 area. Glad you had a V8 right for. Um But you did move up here into probably I would say the most interesting area of this cave complex, this entire cave complex, which
Oh,
is
I don't think we checked out that face that's up at the top left.
yeah. Actually, there's faces on all the sides here. They seem to be staring at you. Can you imagine that guy comes to life at the end and just fucking eats you, just like he eats the entire party? This has been a meme. This has been a meme throughout the entire campaign because when on the first time we used one of these like larger world maps, Zund is like, "What's going on with his face down here?" And it's just like a decoration for the map. But he was like really concerned that that was gonna like come out and eat the whole party or something. Um, Alrighty, yeah. So you guys moved up here into V10. Give me 2 seconds here. I'm having dropping some frames. I think it's because there's a computer on downstairs.
Mm.
Um, all right, yeah. So you moved up here into V10, and I think, like I said, V10 I think is the most exciting area of this. This is a place with what you pretty easily figure out is some sort of a tomb.
A
There's
tomb,
a
yeah.
huge stone slab on top of the tomb. You see a bunch of pictographs on the walls, and this is where you get some context for where you are, which is what is your recollection of this area of lore?
Um, so the way that I understood it from the information that Jordy provided and Kendar with the religion rolls or with mine, it looked like a warrior, barbarian maybe tribe, and this looked as though it was portraying the leader fighting and then eventually dying at the end. And it seemed as though this burial was their leader.
Yeah, you see, that's exactly right. You got the context is these pictographs on the wall that illustrate how the chieftain led her tribe to settle in Icewind Dale, fought off monsters to claim the land, and then you studied the artwork even closer, and in the hand of the chieftain, you noticed that there was some sort of a wand. Um, you can make that out in the pictograph, and she's killing like a yeti or something, wielding the
Yeah,
wand and casting a destructive spell.
yeah.
Quite a lot of discussion here. Split party decision, I would say. There was no unanimous decision here. To pop the top off of this bad boy and eat the yummy Pringles inside. Well, I think Gusto was like, "No, this is a terrible idea. We definitely shouldn't do this."
No, that was Kendar.
Kindar said this is
Uh,
a terrible idea, and that you were
uh,
like, "Maybe there's something in here that could help us."
yeah, because with that conversation with Kendar and saying, yeah, that this party is going to try and stop this curse. Figured, we could probably use some more um, powerful equipment or something like that to help with that. So not to try and desecrate the body or anything, but to try and see if there's something useful um, that we could use.
Yeah, so okay, so I think it was like there's the definitely let's open it crowd. There's the probably let's open it crowd. There's the probably let's not open it crowd, and then there's the definitely not open it. And I think
Yeah,
all four
plenty
players
neat.
fell into one of those. So it's like definitely open it
Yep,
Cleo.
yep,
Maybe we should open it Gusto. Probably shouldn't open it Jordy, and then definitely let's not open it Kindar. Like that's kind of the
yeah,
breakdown of how that all went.
oh yeah.
For those watching live on Twitch, I'm so sorry. We're dropping a ton of frames here. My internet connection's been real bad for the last couple of weeks, so um, I apologize if you're having any connection issues here. We're dropping a decent amount of frames now. Just my internet connection's been real bad. Thanks, Comcast. Um, Ultimately, you decide not to do it yet. I don't think there's like we're definitely not going to do this ever, but we're not going to do it yet. That didn't stop Cleo from several times trying to herself knock this top off of this, but Cleo's not the strength based character.
I think
uh
several is not adequate. Every
and
chance she got.
excessive. It's funny because we both Sunflower and I both had ideas for like how Cleo's doing this. Like everybody leaves the room and Cleo's like leaning up against it, just like shoving, trying to get this top. And she made roll after roll. I told her I'd give it to her on a natural 20, but that was going to be that's the only way she was going to be able to personally remove this top to this thing. Um,
It's
and
awesome.
so she never did get it. Never did get it done. At this point, I think Kindar was just kind of, or yeah, Kindar was just kind of like snooping around, seeing what else he could see here, and ultimately came back up into this cavern of V7. Um,
Yep. We didn't want to cross the streams.
yeah, you
Um,
guys didn't want to go across here. Well, you came down here, looked outside, saw that this was an area where there was different exits, entrances to the cave. This is not the cave going deeper. Um, this is
yeah.
just entrances. And so you came back up into this area here and you saw there's some cool stuff in here. The frozen stream ends at a 7 foot deep frozen pool at the back of a dark cave. And trapped beneath the ice, you can see there's some sort of a statue with
Hmm.
and we couldn't quite tell from where you were. It's super dark in here. And so you decide to send perhaps the least stealthy character in your party. Maybe Gusto's might be the least stealthy character, but you
Yeah.
decide to send Jordy out to investigate what this thing is. And also, I think that you already knew at this point that there was a giant cave bear sleeping in the corner of the room. The cave bear started here. He was fast asleep.
Yeah. Yep.
So Jordy gets out there, makes a stealth roll, rolls real bad. Steps on a piece of like snow there, which he thinks is just solid snow, but it turns out to be it's frozen under with ice. And then the whole, every bit of the ice breaks,
Yep. The loud
waking
cracking.
the loud like cracking of ice breaks. This all becomes instead of ice, this all becomes just frigid water, and then the combat with the cave bear begins. Right before that started, Kindar had done something real smart, which is to put like an illusion in front of the cave bear. So the cave bear actually wasted a couple of turns. If not, this guy's pretty tough. I mean, this is not an
Yeah.
easy creature. You guys dealt with him fairly easily. I think just because of the way you handled combat. Let's take a look at this cave bear's character sheet. Um, 2 attacks, a +7 to hit, a 1d8 +5.
Oof.
I mean, you guys are level 2. This is a CR2, but like this
Yeah.
is
That's still pretty rough.
he's tough. This is a tough guy to beat. So, um,
I mean, I think I have the highest AC at 18. And if this guy rolls an 11
yeah,
or higher, he hits everybody.
yeah. Everybody in the party gets hit with that, and
Yeah.
it's 2 attacks, 1d8 +5 and 2d6 +5. So it's like this is not nothing. And but you guys did fairly well. I think Jordy took the brunt of the attacks from this dude.
Yeah.
Um,
I did cast a new spell that added a +2 to Jordy's AC.
that's right.
Um, I thought that was going to be coming in clutch for Jordy because he's going to be right up there in the mix and
Uh,
typically doesn't have a whole lot of uh, AC because
uh,
he's a sponge.
and what spell was that?
Um, you had to ask, didn't you?
For,
I can tell you in 2 seconds.
yeah, it's uh, what is it? I'm trying to. Maybe I can beat you to it. Nah, I can't remember. Um, I think you fought this guy for about 3 rounds. Um, but during the last round, basically that the bear was alive. Bear was a named character, by the way. It might have critted. I think the bear might have critted at some point. I can't remember.
Shield of Faith.
Shield of Faith. Excuse me. So you're fighting the bear, and you hear a voice. Yogabor, Yogabor, mommy's home. Right. So you hear this voice. Cleo runs around the corner to see what the hell is going on down here, and she sees a female Verbeeg come in. The female Verbeeg is carrying a big burlap pack and like a half of an elk that she has chopped up and is clearly going to feed Yogabor. And she sees you, screams at the top of her lungs, and enters the fray. Basically, as the bear is dying, like she enters the fray, and then the bear is killed, and she goes into like this murderous rage. This
Yeah.
was the closest we have come to a TPK in this campaign so far, but very, very close. It was, I think, two of you down, maybe even three of you down at one point. Three people unconscious and dying.
I think
So
so. I don't know about Kendar, but I know Jordy and I were down right there where Cleo and Jordy is at.
Kindar stepped out, tried to step away from her, out of her reach, and she took an attack of opportunity and knocked him unconscious and dying into a single shot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So yeah, three of us down.
there was considerable danger in this fight, but you
Yeah.
did make it out. You did make it out alive. Yeah, it was really close, Book Fairy. It was really close. Um, but you did make it out, and you managed to defeat her. Um,
Yep.
uh,
I did need to point out, I went back and watched the previous episode, and what I found in the barrel was a healer's kit, not a healing potion.
oh, okay. Did you take a healing potion? We didn't. We did.
No.
We did. I decided that we were gonna. Oh, I'm glad you did that, Flora, because we didn't resolve that. That's something we're gonna have to resolve on the basically first thing tomorrow.
Yeah.
Is exactly how we're gonna. Are you just gonna drag the bodies and wait for the hour for them to heal, or what are you gonna do? This was a really emotional moment for Cleo. She's really close with animals, and so she knows that you guys killed this Verbeeg's pet. You know, whether however you feel about Verbeeg, like the Verbeeg clearly cared for this animal, was
Yeah.
was devastated by its death, and so Cleo, like after the combat, just the emotion overcomes her. She falls to her knees. She begins to cry, and Jordy's right there, and she kind of turns away. She doesn't want to show this weakness to Jordy. She turns away and she looks back, and she sees the burlap sack that the Verbeeg dropped when she originally came into the cavern, and she sees this thing that her as a player or her as a character does not recognize. It's like this green thing. It's like got a bunch of like jagged edges around it, and it looks like a plate. And she through tears, she's like looking at this thing. She has
Yeah.
no idea what it is. She has no idea what it is. Jordy, Kindar, Gusto have no idea what it is, but you, me, and all the players and everybody in chat realizes that this thing in this bag is a what we would know as a circuit board, and that's right where we ended the session,
Yeah.
which
That's crazy.
I loved. I love the ending of this.
Yeah, that was crazy.
So I talked to you and Jackson a little bit right after the session. I was just like, "What do you guys think?" Because clearly I was building up to something to end the session with as she looked over. What did you guys think? And what was you had a pretty decent theory.
Yeah, I honestly I was kind of afraid that you were going to say that there was a child for Verbeek over there. The way that you were saying it, um, that would have been horrible, especially for Cleo after killing the parents to
Right.
see a child Verbeek. That would be devastating, I'm sure.
As it is, though, I mean, what do you think? I mean, that's pretty
I
nuts.
mean, a circuit board, that's insane. There's no circuit boards in D. What are you
Yeah.
talking about? There's no
Yeah.
computer.
So, like, as I'm reading this campaign, and we're still like well within chapter one here. I think that Jackson had said, like, after you guys had completed your first quest, he's like, "We just completed chapter one." It's like, no, no, you're still well within the depths of chapter one. As I'm probably through at least like chapter 4 or 5 now, and I know generally the gist of what happens. There's about 7 chapters in this. I know
Oh,
what happens
geez.
throughout the rest, but yeah, as I'm reading through this, I'm like, whoa, this is such a cool thing, and so I was really excited to reveal that to you. I think this is, besides, like, you've definitely gotten snips and bits of the overall plot of this campaign, but this
Yeah.
particular drop I think is going to be one of the most like confusing for the players, and they're not really going to know what it is and how to
Yep.
proceed. And you guys as players, it's going to be a challenge for you guys because you're going to be like, well, I fucking know what that is. I know what
Yeah.
that is, but Gusto doesn't know what that is or how that relates. And so, how are you going to play that out? I think that's going to be really interesting.
I'm gonna assume that it's probably no mishmake. Um, they are the tinkerers and the
Right.
inventors. So I mean, I guess that's the only real thing that I could
Yeah,
go on.
yeah, exactly. So I'm excited to get back to this campaign, though, Vlor, and we'll be playing this. If you're watching this live, we're going to be playing this tomorrow, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to go for about 2 hours. So let's get to it. So this campaign, I would say, I think that we have like we run these two campaigns, Vlor, and both of them have very different feels, right? Like one of the
Yeah.
campaigns, I think that the Rime of the Frostmaiden campaign is very heavy um, with story and the characters the character development's going to be like a really interesting thing to watch and
Hmm.
and don't get me wrong, I love that, but this other campaign which we're running, Lost Mine of Fandelver, has just turned into this like really goofy like sort of fun fest. I don't know, it's just like this
Yeah.
campaign is really really silly. What time is that for those in the UK? Boom Byron, can you help out with that? I think it's you guys are plus 5 hours, so it starts pretty late for you, Dragon Blood, probably like 1 a.m. But you can always catch the episodes on YouTube, DB. Don't forget. Don't forget. Okay, so this started in a combat.
We're doing 2 episodes, so even
Oh,
before
you're
that.
totally right. You're absolutely right. You started having just gotten into this cave.
Yep.
Yeah, we're having. It took me a while to fix some of the issues with the VOD, and so we're going to do an XXL version of the Fandelver lineup. You guys just entered Wave Echo Cave, then found a dead dwarf. You assume that it's one of Gundren's brothers. You're not sure which one. You don't have a
Brother.
one of his brothers. He did. He's like, I forgot that he talked like that. Um, Droop found the boots of springing, and striding, or something, and
Yeah.
on his body, and you took them, and then you headed into Wave Echo Cave, which is the last stretch of your campaign here. Um, you get in here, and it wasn't immediately obvious where to go. There's a north and an east kind of passage here, and you just kind of basically flipped a coin, opted for north. There was nothing that really sent you that way. Um,
We followed where it looked like it had been tunneled out.
yeah, so you kind of peeked in and saw that that and again the natural cave ends at some point, and it becomes more of a worked mine, as it were. Um, so yeah, you get in here and just peeking around. You're taking a look around the corner, see what's over here. You kind of take a peek into the section 2, which is on the map here. And you're just, I don't know. There's like 1,000 different ways to go. You have no idea
Yeah.
really. Start heading up this far side north, and this jelly drops from the ceiling onto Gamer Bardwin. This could have been rough. Let's take a look at this guy. You guys have fought jellies in the past, not this particular party, but on the side quest campaign that we did. You had fought some jellies.
I hate them.
Yeah, this guy was like real rough to one of your characters,
Yeah.
to Windbreaker. So a few different things here. Obviously the jelly is super easy to hit.
Yeah.
It had a ton of HP, but HP doesn't really matter when you have a character like Droop in the party who's just like
Yeah.
pumping out 30 points of damage a turn. Um, he dropped from the ceiling, and I don't think he ever actually got an attack, because it was over with before it began. The only thing that could have happened really is this reaction called Split.
Ooh.
So he could have split, and it would have happened actually if Droop was using a slashing weapon instead of a piercing weapon. So Droop's
Mm.
main hand weapon is a rapier, and his offhand weapon is a short sword. And he hit the jelly with both of those weapons. The short sword killed it, but the rapier is the one. The rapier actually killed it. I think he did like this crazy maneuver where he like did an acrobatics jump over top of this thing and then stabbed it and
Yeah.
killed it. But
Yeah.
if that had been with a short sword and not the rapier, it would have popped into two different jellies. Then he would have been fighting two jellies instead of just the one. But
Wow.
this guy was you made short work of him. That was just kind of like a nothing burger.
Yeah, we got pretty lucky. I got the jump on it with the first initiative, and then Droop with the second, and the two of us, with the number of attacks I have and the OP-ness of Droop, um, it just
Did you just say
it just took.
OPness?
Yeah, I did.
Sorry. Um, yeah, you can see where and you but you can also see in especially in the upcoming combats you can also see like the strengths of the party, but you can also see where the weaknesses of your party are,
Yep.
which is and I think that basically that shows in the next fight. So
Oof.
you keep going up here, keep going up here, keep going up here, and then you start to smell, like water, mustiness of this cave. You're super wary, as you should be. I mean, you're in a dungeon. This is scary.
Yeah.
Like put yourself in the shoes of your character for a minute, right? Like even though you're a brave fighter and you've seen some shit, like this is still
Yeah.
scary. um,
Yeah.
Especially it's dark. I mean, I know your character has dark vision, but you might be the only one in the party that actually does.
I think now, yeah.
Um, So you head into this cavern. You think that maybe I think the consensus was that there's something in the water that's gonna pop out and drag us in. There's a kraken or something in here. Like you're scared
I
of that.
I think that at some point we found the bones, like at the beginning, we found that there were bones in there through a really good perception check or something.
Yeah, well, Droop has got that rod of perception that's like, or whatever it's called, that's like allowing him to make
Mhm.
bonus attacks on or bonus rolls on perception checks and things like that. So he's like super
Alertness.
aware. Um, and so he sees that there's something below the about 10 feet down in the water. And so you were kind of, and all the while I'm having you make perception checks without any kind of resolution to those perception checks.
Yeah. Oh, we did poorly on the perception checks for that. Very
Yeah. So
poorly.
you know that I'm like, I mean, I know you guys can like, most of you guys are looking at the map, so you can see that I have something there. That's that's in the shadows, but I mean like you're doing well and not to metagame that stuff, which is important for this.
Actually, I actually don't look at the map.
You don't have the map open. Just what about the rolls? Are you looking
I
at your
have
live rolls or no?
no, not really.
Yeah.
I have the stream open, but I have my chat like covering the map.
Yeah,
So
that's
I
a
can see
good.
everybody's
That's
face
good.
and then yours as well. But
That's a really good that's a good way to do it, I think. Vlor. But like for instance when we had the jelly fight, I'm the jelly starts here and here's you guys come around the corner and you guys are moving around the corner and I know that gamer heroine sees it. Like because she's like acting really weird, she's trying not to, but as soon as she gets away from the party I move the jelly over and it attacks, but she knows, and probably Cunning Fox knows because they're watching the stream, that this jelly is like following them up the thing. But you can't just be like, I look up to the jelly who's clearly on the ceiling above me. um
yeah, I don't think I'm that good at not metagaming.
I don't think I'm
So
good. I don't think I'd be very good at it either, to be perfectly honest.
so it's easier just to cover it up.
Um, in any case, you I think that Azrael starts to try to get a fishing line to maybe fish up some of these bones, because they're like, well, nobody has a fishing line, and Azrael's like, no, wait a minute, I do, and everybody's like, of course you do.
Yeah, I'm thinking the perception checks are for something that's in the water. Like if we get too close to the water, something's gonna grab us. That's why there's bones in the water. Let me stay away. Let me get a fishing rod so we don't actually have to get in.
Right, but it turns
So
out that
Right
It
behind
was a
me.
guy that was right behind you in the shadows, and it was this dark elf warrior, and this guy was tough. This was a
Yeah,
hard fight.
yeah.
Um, trying to pull up his.
Nearly killed me before anything even happened.
Yeah, basically almost one shotted you to unconsciousness. I mean, like this guy is super nasty. He is.
I mean, it's not that hard with the monk, but
That was one of your toughest, like single combatants I think that you've faced. Besides like actual dragons, this guy might have been the highest CR character that you faced. I'm looking for him, but I can't see him. In any case, he comes out, and I don't remember too much about this fight. Here's what I remember about this fight. You guys surrounded him, and he cast a sphere of darkness to try to get away from you guys, and he almost
Mhm.
did. He really almost did. I think that Mini Bulba's druid, which was at some point a gorilla, but then turned into a snake, um, kind of slithered around the corner and saw him. If not for that, he might have actually slipped away, and you might have had to fight this guy at a later time.
I think
Um,
there was a perception check to hear him moving.
Yeah, that makes sense because you were in this like sphere of darkness here that nobody could see. It was magical darkness. Um, and but yeah, so
It
you
was
get up
probably
to him and you deal with him. Like once you get Droop in there and Droop's not surprised and he
yeah.
but honestly, I think actually through this combat, Droop rolled very poorly. I think Cunning Fox rolled really, really poorly against this guy, and that made this
Yeah.
fight like 10 times harder because he because your main DPS was not really functioning properly.
Yeah.
Um,
And unfortunately I didn't get any hits off either with the snake.
right, no snake hits there. Yeah, so I think it was and throughout this entire fight, Gamer Bardo is just healing, healing, healing. I mean, she
Yeah.
drops every spell, I think almost every spell. So at the end of this combat, Azrael's very low. Droop is very low. I and Gamer Barterman, I think, are full health or near full health. And you guys are like, you. This guy doesn't have much on him personally, but you
Mhm.
do. Who swims into the water? Who goes into the water? Is it, oh,
That's
it's I as the snake goes into the water.
after taking some time to practice biting as the snake.
Yeah, because it's like a constrictor snake, so it's like
Yeah. She wasn't very good at biting with the snake,
no.
so she had to take some practice, which I thought was great.
Swims down there, sees the skeleton, and it looks like the skeleton is some kind of magic user. She
Hmm.
sees a bunch of arrows in the, like in where what would be the chest now is just like a bone rib cage of this skeleton, and comes up with one of my very favorite items in all of sort of tabletop RPGs, which is a wand of healing.
Yeah.
Um, found 2 platinum rings and a wand of healing, or wand of cure wounds. It has, I think, 4 charges left on it. Um,
Mhm.
that was what was in its clutches. So brings that back up, does some snake charades because as a snake, I doesn't have any kind of a feat that allows her to talk while she's in wild shape,
Yeah.
and charades out to you guys that this is a wand of cure wounds.
20 minutes. 20 minutes it takes us.
she as the snake, she makes the shapes with her snake body. Um,
Uh,
I took some extra care here because you guys were low on spells, low on health, and
mhm.
uh, you ultimately the party's like, we need a short rest. At very least, we need a short rest. And so you're kind of him hawing around what we're gonna do. I'm like, all right, well, first things first is you do you use the wand at all? So I was basically gonna. This was my gift to the party, was to allow you guys to wand if you wanted to wand. You guys are like, no, we're gonna get the rest no sooner than that.
Yeah.
then this door, which had previously remained closed, bursts open, and 5 bugbears step out, ready to fight. That was the end of that session that we missed. That was the end of the session that we did not cover yet. And so, start of the session that we just had this last week is the combat with these bugbears, which got
Mm,
pretty squirrely. It all basically
yeah.
happened on this. It all basically happened in this area here on the steps. It was Droop and I up there on the steps, just 1v1 fighting. Droop was knocked unconscious several times. Gamer Bardwin used the rest of her healing spells. I think I used the rest of her healing spells. It was
Yeah.
close, extremely
I think
close.
I mostly did darts or something like that because
You had no health.
I had like 3 hit points. What I did do, and unfortunately nobody else wanted to work with it,
The
is I
caltrops.
threw down the caltrip. And I did that in kind of a way to kind of funnel them in, because if anyone steps on the caltrops, they're gonna stop moving, and that could, help us out. Hopefully, they'll see the caltrops and walk around them. And in order to do that, they'll have to, you know, be in that single square. But it was worth a try.
Yeah, I mean, it's you almost have to like. I think that when you're making, just not to play your character, but when you're making decisions like that, you have to let your party in on a little bit more than you had, because your party was like
Yeah,
very confused by that. Like, why are you doing this? And then nobody went along with that plan because nobody really understood what was happening.
yeah,
Um, but also, yeah, you couldn't get in there in combat because you had literally 3 hit points. I mean, like, what do you're gonna get in there and just be immediately knocked unconscious? Like, these guys hit hard. We looked at the Bugbear's character sheet before, when we were back last time we fought these guys, which was quite a while ago. I mean, these guys are hitting 2d8 plus 2. I mean, these are, for a CR1 creature, like, yeah, it's a plus 4, but I mean, you guys are, especially I is low AC, Gamer Barterman is low AC, Droop is even, well, I think Droop's at like a 17 now, so that's pretty good, but still, like,
yeah,
if the guy hits you, this is a lot of health. I mean, that's a lot of damage that you're taking, so.
yeah. And didn't Droop go down at least once?
I would say at least once, probably upwards of maybe even 3 times unconscious and dying. Like, it was like he kept getting knocked down because he is your tank. I mean, he's your frontline fighter.
Yeah.
I mean, I's trying to get up there and beast form wild shape into something that can tank a little bit of damage, but
Mhm.
once she is knocked out of wild shape, it's like she's standing there with, fucking 20 HP. It's like, that's really dangerous. So,
Yeah.
and these guys were just morning stars, javelins through you. There was a lot of extra cover and stuff that was happening. So that was kind of fun for me because it's kind of, I was like, you guys were getting a little AC boost on some of the javelin throws, and they were getting an AC boost on some of that. And so I really enjoyed that part of it. There was a thunder wave in there at one point. There were some attacks of opportunity. I has that flame sphere, which did a lot of work during this fight, and then in a tight quarters like this, you guys have to be concerned about where you're ending your turn as well, so that not to get hit by
Yep.
the flame sphere. So, um, yeah. So last time you fought a bunch of bugbears in a tight corridor, it was a tough fight, and this time was no different. But you did
You
make
know,
it
the
through.
the difference on this one is that we actually had space behind us, and I felt like this was funneling the bugbears a little bit better than the last time. The last time, we really couldn't do anything. This time, at least GB had, her spells and her crossbow, and I could throw darts or something.
Yeah.
Um,
Also, the
but
benefit of just 2 more levels
yeah,
made a huge difference. I mean, last time you fought this many bugbears, you guys were level 2. So sitting here at level 4 now is was pretty different. But I mean, I like these combats where one combat strings into another. I enjoy this because in a lot of time, like, let's say you're fully rested and your party of 4 walks into a party of 5 bugbears. I don't think there's an actual tangible sense of danger there.
Nope.
Whereas after you fight this other guy and you guys are really depleted, then you walk into 5 bugbears, and then this is like one fight that was really tough into another fight that was really tough. And so it makes this like these combatants that you're used to fighting all it's a brand new game now because now you guys have to really now it's like there's an actual sense of danger, like we could
Yeah.
really die here to this stuff that we could have easily beaten otherwise because we're unrested.
Yep.
But you do beat these guys, and you walk into the barracks area here, and you see that the door across is barricaded from your side. So that immediately has got to set up some alarm bells. But the first thing you open up this door, Gamer Bardo and walks in, pops into bed, and is asleep. Like
Yep.
she is exhausted. She has no spells. She's taken some hits.
She's been drinking whiskey.
She's been drinking whiskey both IRL and in game.
I think she also made one of those rolls and got a 2.
Oh yeah, and she also, while she was sleeping, pooped her pants.
Crap the cot.
You I almost said Gusto. Azrael drags a bugbear in here to use as like a camouflage blanket. Because Azrael don't give a fuck. In here you found I found some just a small amount of money and also a potion, which you ultimately identify as a potion of vitality on one of the bugbears. So that was kind of neat. But long story short, you guys get your long rest in here. And then you decide to, well, to talk me through, you decide to ultimately, the party decide to go through the barricaded door, but I feel like that's not what you really wanted to do here, Lore.
I'll be honest, I don't really remember that. I don't really see an issue as to why we wouldn't.
I mean, I guess you had another option, so I was just wondering what the thought
Yeah.
process was to whether to not go up or to go through the barricaded door.
It's I feel like it was probably one of those indecisive moments
Where somebody was just like, let's make a decision. Yeah, I think actually it was I and Droop who finally were just like, we're going through here. You had started to move some of the stuff out of the way, and you, maybe even as a joke, you were like, well, it's going to take 10 minutes? Fuck that.
yeah. I think that's what it was.
But yeah, I and Droop move the stuff out of the way, and you head through the barricaded door here and out into...
Oh, you know what it was? There was a noise that we had
Yes,
heard.
you heard noises overnight out here.
And felt like we wanted to go and take a peek. But in order to take a peek, we had to
You
move
need
all
to
the
move
stuff.
all the shit. You're like, yeah,
And we're
fuck
like,
that.
oh, never mind. And then everybody's like, oh, yeah, let's move it. I'm like, all right.
Azrael stealths out here. It is, dark, and you see what is pretty easily recognizable as a giant forge. It has the bellows, it has the water wheel. Nothing appears to be moving. You're peeking around, and you see this big old skull sitting up on top of the forge. And you walk over to it, and as you get close to it, it glows with a green flame, red eyes, and starts hovering in the air and attacks you. I think that it was I who identifies it as a flame skull, which makes sense because it is in fact a flaming skull.
Yeah, we were like, oh, no duh.
This was of the creatures that you're going to fight here in Wave Echo Cave. This is top 3 for me that I was looking forward to playing, and I think that had the initiative gone a little differently, this fight would have gone way differently. Because you guys did a significant amount of damage to it before it was able to cast Blur, which makes it extremely hard to hit by melee. And I think that this is another problem with your party. Not a problem so much as I think this is another deficit of your party, in that if you can't hit something with a melee attack, your party is going to have some difficulty killing something. And so that played out a little bit. But thanks to a very good roll by Droop and a very good roll by you against the Blur, you were able to deal with this guy pretty quickly. The skull fell to the ground. Like I imagine, I think I said it was like the end of a spinning of a quarter, like as it hits the ground. Um,
Yeah.
and I think that Azrael picked up the skull and put it in his pack. I don't know if that was surreptitiously or not, but you picked it up and put it in your pack.
Well, he's a collector. So, and I think what happened there was Azrael did a flip off the forge onto the bellows and hit the skull into Droop.
Right, yeah, the skull hits if like you knocked the now dead skull into Drew. Um, so you
and
guys
and
are
that
so you jump on the bellows and like this giant plume of ash and soot pops out and like flies out, and so you know that like the bellows is or the forge is in a state of disuse. Gamer
Mhm.
Barterman hops up there, peeks into the top of the forge, like right up here, to see if there's anything inside. And you jump on the thing again, and she gets a face full of ash and soot. If anything, I want to see drawn from like I wish that we were all independently wealthy, Lore, because I would commission so much artwork from moments in our campaign. And
Yeah.
that's this would absolutely be one of them. The soot and ash covered face of Gamer Barterwin as she like looks over angrily at Azrael, who just jumped on the bellows.
You would see just on the tips of the fingers, and then just under the collar, the shirt,
Yeah,
all the way up, just covered in soot, like a circular pattern.
exactly. But she doesn't see anything of interest in there. You guys are kind of checking out the bellows, trying to see like, okay, the water wheel. I think somebody at some point says, "We got to get the water flowing. We got to turn this thing on." And somebody else is like, "Why?" Which are always funny moments. But as you guys are checking this thing out, you hear the same shuffling that you heard through the door. And around the corner, you see a zombie. And as that happens, the zombie lets out a moan, a wail. And then one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, and then perhaps more that you can't see in the darkness. Zombies pop up through the floor and combat will begin. I believe the zombie's last words were, "Next week we'll roll for initiative," or something like that. So you guys are going to be starting the session here with another combat. Um, I feel like you've seen zombies. You've faced some zombies,
Yep, we did.
but not these
In
particular zombies.
the lost episodes of Thunder Tree.
That's right. You faced some ash zombies in Thunder Tree,
Mhm.
but you've never faced just a straight up zombie. So I honestly, without pulling up the character sheets, I don't know what the difference is. You guys are in fairly good shape. I'm not like super concerned about this combat, but it should be fun because, as with like any combat, I think with zombies in fiction, the fun part of these combats is the wave of zombies coming at you, right? The unrelenting pursuit of zombies after you. Like that's I think the fun part of any kind of zombie fiction. So I should
Yep.
actually delete the flame skull there because he's in your pack. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That'll be 2 weeks from, or sorry, a week from Tuesday. So the next time we'll be playing in this session will be on January 12th, and it should be fun. I was looking at, I pulled out and looked at the overall map here. We You have uncovered approximately 20% of the map so far, so
Oh,
there's
jeez.
quite a lot. We might have upwards of 4 to 5 more sessions. I didn't think that we'd get to 20 sessions on Fandelver, but it's just looking at the map. I think it's totally possible that we make it there to 20. So,
Wow.
um, and then we've already discussed it, but after Fandelver's over with, we're going to be starting a Storm King's Thunder campaign, which I'm excited about. That'll be really fun, and same players, different characters. And I offered these guys the chance to pick up and play their character once they get up to level 4. If they want to, if they're not having fun with their character that they're playing, they can dip out and do something different. So, but that'll be fun.
Yeah.
We'll be starting that as soon as we're done with this, basically. So,
Yeah, I think this is going a bit longer than what you originally thought it was going to.
yeah, I mean, I've done some things to extend it out too. Like I've definitely added so much. I mean, like I've added so much homebrew to this, and not to mention that we played an entire side quest for almost two
That's
months.
that's true. I think I do really enjoy the homebrew stuff that you've added in. I think it's really been good.
So thanks Laura, I appreciate that. Just as a like I've added some combats because you guys know that my one of my favorite aspects of D&D is combat. So I've gone in and I've added some different combats and stuff, but I've never tried to just add a combat to have another fight. I've always tried to make the combats that I've added add something to the narrative as well. So I'll go back to like the Knolls taking over Fandelver.
Yeah.
That's not a thing that's in this campaign, but it made narrative sense to me, and it filled some holes in the plot that I felt like existed after looking at that. And so that's why I added that in. It just, I think it makes more narrative sense that happened. And so it not only added a combat, but I think it made the story made more sense to me in that way. So but I'm excited for the conclusion of this.
Yeah.
I'm pumped to see. There's still some mystery left to uncover here, so I'm excited to see that as well. Anything to
Yeah.
add, Lord, before we call it a day?
Um, we're coming for you, Spider. We're coming for you.
Yeah. That combat's gonna be fun. I need to talk to Rellin. We need to figure out when Rellin might be available to come in and play. I think that'll just be fun. I don't know. Like
Yeah.
we've made him into the villain of this campaign, so it'll be
Well,
fun to see.
he did kill
He
our first cunning
succeeded where I failed so often, Vlor. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks for all the follows on Twitch, the subs on YouTube. You can find all of my links in the description below. And as always, may all your 20s be natural.
and your skulls be flaming.
Bye.